here has applied to college? Well, duh, all of you have. That's why you all got here. It seemed like such a normal path that we would apply to college in order to get into a good job. However, this is probably one of the most self-destructing and drawn-out events that someone has to go through in their life. Our childhood has become progressive, with every little thing becoming something that would be good for us to do for college. Today I'm going to talk to you about the problems behind the college admissions process. First, I'm going to discuss some of the problems of the college admissions application itself. Then I'm going to talk to you about the problems from parents and peers. And finally, I will leave you with some solutions about what you can do to help this process. So what is this process and what is it doing to society? Author Jonathan Cole of the New York Times writes about how colleges are setting diversity guidelines of who will get into each college. Where you live, what ethnicity you are, how much your parents make, these all draw in to a huge proportion of if you will get admitted into college. But besides that, there's also sports teams that need to be filled, bands that need cello players, and students of alumni who will donate money. It seems that colleges have become so obsessed with filling these key things that they have strayed away from admitting people based on their merit. But isn't that what college is all about, your merit? Colleges have become so obsessed with their rankings that it seems like we have set aside the idea of merit. Cole also talks about how colleges are making kids stray away from their talents and passions. It seems that in order to get into college, you have to be good at everything. But if Harvard can produce a lawyer as good as Alan Dershowitz, why does it matter if he wasn't good at college algebra? Or if MIT can produce a scientist as good as Albert Einstein, why does it matter if he flunked high school history? Author Deborah Bile and Alba Rodriguez also talk about, in their article, about segregating, how colleges are segregating people, leaving only the top right, white, rich kids at colleges. And the result of this is that there is an unequal distribution of people in the top job sectors. Not only is the college admissions process a huge problem, but also parents and the students are drawing into this problem as well. Matt Ritchell talks about in his article that people are believing nowadays that if they don't get into the top universities, then they're going to be ending up flipping hamburgers at McDonald's, as if that was their only other option. Frank Bruni also talks about how we are becoming obsessed with brands. I'm not talking about the brands of the clothes that you are wearing, but also the brands of what college you are going to get into. Your parents have become so obsessed with where you get into college so that they can tell their friends down the road that you got into a better college than their kid did. College is a place for you to rummage through the ideas of lives, but it seems that this has become so lost in the craziness of college admissions that it is turning into an emotional and a physical threat to today's society. Former Dean of Students at Freshman University, Julie Lithcott-Hames, has become very involved in talking about this process. As her time at Stanford passed, she watched helicopter parents become more and more prominent, and she watched mental health disorders skyrocket at Stanford University. Julie talks about her idea of a checklisted childhood. This checklisted childhood starts with parents claiming that they moved to the hometown that you live in, primarily so that you could get into a good high school. But now it has not even become that you could get into a good high school, but that you could get into a good kindergarten. And not even a good kindergarten, but so you could get into the best sports teams. But then everyone got that checklist. And that checklist now consists of you having to be the best at everything on that checklist. It has become school, 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 homework, 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 sports, 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 and then some community service. This has become too much for kids to handle. Sharon Noguchi writes about in the Mercury Times how this is becoming detrimental to our emotional health. Kids these days are carrying so much more on their shoulders than what they used to have to carry. And this is leading to depression and sometimes even suicide. But is it really worth it getting into that most selective college that kids are taking their lives? Or is this process way too hard on students? This process is definitely ruining our society. And some of the solutions out there are that some believe that we could have less AP credits. However, this is not a viable solution because colleges are primarily looking to see if you can do harder coursework in high school so that you could do well in college. Some also suggested that we don't have tests such as the SAT or the ACT, but this is also not an answer because this is how we decide who can go to college and who can't. Author Steve Cohen talks about in his article a Harvard study that suggested that they have students engage in some type of community service over their 4 years in high school, and that they write an essay about how that experience affected them. But this solution is also not viable because it makes it so that we would have to add more time onto our schedules, which we obviously can't do. The best solution out there is to bring down the cost of college itself, but that is definitely not a viable solution. Even this Harvard study can't figure out how to balance community service, level the playing field, and bring down student stress. So let's think back to that checklist that Julie Lythcott-Haynes thinks about. The checklist should not be about getting into the best school on the block, or getting the best SAT score out of all your friends, or being in the best competitive soccer team. But what it should be about is figuring out for kids who they are, what they value, and what they are good at. Because after all, life is about figuring out who you are, not what college you can get into. Your checklist should be about you working your hardest and achieving and finding your passion in life. We need to pull back our blinders about what colleges we're going to get into. Because after all, Stanford and Harvard are not the only schools out there. There are 2,800 accredited universities out there, and it is better to be the big fish in a small pond instead of in the bottom 50% at Stanford or Harvard. And finally, you need to study what you love. Because if you study what you love, you will be jazzed about that subject and life will unfold for you in the best way. You have to have the courage to be you. Because after all, that is what colleges want, and it will lead to the best life. So there is no perfect solution to what we're going to do about college admissions, but there are some minor fixes that we can do at this point. We need to start with attacking the pressures from parents and peers. We need to have people come and talk to us, people such as Julie Lythcott-Haynes, in order to educate our society about what these pressures are doing to students. First, you can start off with buying Julie's book, How to Raise an Adult, to educate those around you and to educate yourself for when you become a parent someday. Second, you can sign these petitions online about making it so that Julie should be required to come to schools in your area to educate those around you. Another solution that I've suggested is a policy change here at Pepperdine. This policy change would require a new admissions team at Pepperdine that would be filled with faculty and students. I talked to the admissions office here at Pepperdine and asked them what it takes to get into this school. They said that 70% of your admittance is on your GPA and your SAT scores alone, with leaving only 30% for your interest and what you did in high school. This problem of having 70% of our admittance being based on numbers is the problem that is driving society crazy over college. So what can you do? You can sign both of these petitions and make it so that we have a fair chance into getting into college. Because after all, the people that know best about this school are the people that go here, the faculty and the students. Thank you.